Good evening, hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Voices of the Vic podcast. We are back. The international break is over, thank God. And people think we're actually going to win the Euros, but hey ho, let's not get into that. We're here, we're talking about domestic football returning. Bit of a stinker for Watford this Easter. We've got Leeds United visiting the Vic on Friday, and then a trip to the West Midlands on Monday to face West Bromwich Albion. But we are here to talk about the Leeds United game. And for those of you that watch regularly, you will recognise my guest from tonight. It's Adam from the Gone Off on a Tangent podcast, who's also a Leeds United fan. Adam, how's things, mate? It's been pretty good since we last spoke for you guys, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been really good. Thank you for having me back on. Pleasure to be here. Please ignore my decor. This is our podcast studio. As you can see, the masking tape holding the soundproofing up. And for those who don't know, we do a weekly show. Isn't a Leeds podcast at all. A little bit Leeds gets mentioned, but it's mainly beer and nonsense and chat. And sport, obviously. So go check us out.
All the links are in the description, nice. By the way. I've sorted you out there.
But yeah, no, it's been very interesting because I looked back at when I did the show last time, and we'd just come out of that period of unsure what it was going to look like. And then barring 3 or 4 poor results, it's been really good, naturally. I mean, since the turn of the year, it's been incredible. Absolutely incredible. The run we're on now is just I just didn't see it come. I suppose I'd say I didn't see it coming, but I didn't see us getting 17 points back on Leicester. No. I mean, you know what I mean? Who saw that? I mean, it's only Reading that have done it before, that amount of points. So, in my wildest dreams, I didn't see that coming. So, yeah, it's been incredible.
It is mad. And since we last spoke, September we played, 23rd, if I remember correctly. You've only lost 5 games since we last played. And it was actually, that game was Daniel Farke's first home win was against us, because you started the season, you only won 2 of your first seven league games. I know you beat Salford in the cup, and I think you might have beaten Shrewsbury as well.
We drew with Salford, went to penalties.
There you go. Yeah, but you didn't start well. So, I mean, what is the thoughts on Daniel Farke at the moment? I mean, we would have spoke about it in the reverse fixture, but I suppose it would have been quite early on to try and tell, and you maybe would have been going into that game with a bit of optimism. But considering the fact is you've only lost 5 games since the 23rd of September, it's pretty good going, and you've made up that big point gap. So he must be bordering on maybe a statue outside Ellen Road at this rate.
He's got a tough act to follow in Bielsa, but his football is very different. It's a lot slower, a lot more controlled. I can completely see how he's got Norwich out of this division twice. Both once getting past us and the second time, both relatively easy, actually, if you look at the stats and the numbers. And where he's been really impressive is he's just been calm the whole way through. Like, as fans, we get upset at defeats and draws or we've dropped some points there. And he's just been all season, don't look at the table, 6 games to go, we'll look at it. Up until then, we need 2 points a game. The old adage of win your home games, draw your away, or whatever it looks like. And he's just been serene. He's been impressive. I mean, the football itself, as you'll see on Friday, very possession-based. We like to control the ball. But I heard a stat this morning that we've got the most goals in transition, and we create the most in transition. So we're not that adverse, especially away from home, to sitting in a little bit, trying to control it, and then hitting you on the break from corners or from whatever. So it's good. What's interesting is when we obviously last spoke on here, August was quite a difficult month. We didn't have our ducks in a row, and the style hadn't really taken hold. And then our result against you was really impressive. Like, we played really well that day, and that sort of almost kick-started it. And then, like you say, a few poor defeats on the road that were probably avoidable. But then it's the Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not just saying this because obviously, you know, hopefully loads of Leeds fans will watch this and you're here, but every time someone says on a podcast, like, who have you been the most impressed with? Even now, I say Leeds are by far the best team we've faced in the Championship this season. Like, Leicester, for me, and I don't want to, you know, go off on one here, but Leicester, for me, didn't look that great. I mean, they've obviously got the quality, which is the reason that they are where they are in the league, and they're able to bring on players that only other teams wish they could bring on. So that's the only reason that they're doing so well. But footballing wise, I don't think they're all that. Ipswich, a lot of fans here will say, we really, really took the game to them at Vicarage Road. We've still got to play them away, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But
they're very good at home, aren't they? Very impressive at home.
Well, yeah, that is my worry, but we're all right away from home, which I'll be mentioning in a bit, actually.
Hopefully, good news for us because you're playing.
Yeah.
So, they're rolling on the crest of a wave from League One, but I've been very impressed with them. They just don't care. They just go for you. And following it with my watch beeping with goals and stuff going in when I'm trying to ignore it, and it's impossible to ignore if we've already played. And they always score. So you think, they're losing 1-0, the WhatsApp group go men's, and then you just know they're going to score. And then they put 6 by someone the other week, Wednesday, in fact. And they're always going to score. So it's whether or not their luck runs out with it, because they've conceded a lot of goals, but they score a hell of a lot and all. So really, it's really good way of playing football.
Yeah, absolutely. And I echo what you said, to be honest. I thought they might it might have been a bit of a purple patch, albeit quite a long one. But I thought, it'll run out for them. But fair play to them. They've kept it up. But yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying, I think Leeds have been the most impressive. Completely played us off the park that day in September. And it was a horrible watch. And I was driving down to Bristol for a wedding, and I got the all clear from the missus, and she was like, right, we'll get down early. I've asked the Airbnb if we can check in early. Got down to watch a game early, especially, and we're going to get absolutely humped like that. So not great memories. But talking of sort of form, if you look at the home form, you're top of the table. You've got 49 points from a possible 19 games. However, and this is where it will be interesting to get your view, Adam, because I know you've got an away season ticket. Away from home, you're 4th, where you've picked up 33 points from a possible 19. Now, for a bit of context, Watford aren't that far behind. We've picked up 27 points from 19 on the road. So what's the difference? What are you doing at home that you're not away, and vice versa?
Well, like you say, our home form is incredibly impressive now, and if we can see that all the way through, that'll hopefully, well, I don't know with this league this year, but hopefully carry us through. But away from home, it's been really interesting to watch. Not always in a good way, but like most recently, we had a really good run. We were trying to go for 10 in a row, and then we drew at Huddersfield, and they went down to 10 men. Made it really hard for us. Couldn't get over the line. You felt if we played for another 20 minutes, we'd have got it, got the winner. Quite frustrating. In previous games, Sunderland away comes to mind. It was a midweek game, and they just frustrated us. And it was so slow back to. We just couldn't get into the final third. A couple of off nights as well from the front four. Any number of the front four that are quite impressive, but it was just really slow and quite not tepid, but. You needed to move the ball a lot quicker, and then it was the same at Preston. We just sort of let them play their game, and then we were in losing by ones. It was always corners or something silly, or a thunder bastard from somewhere, and it just catches you out, and you just haven't quite got enough. But since the turn of the year, other than that Huddersfield game, we do look better away from home. We are moving a little bit quicker. We've got Hull visiting on Monday, and I was chatting to a really good friend of mine earlier about the game, and he's really nervous about Friday, as am I, at our game. But the one on Monday he's less nervous about because we think Hull are going to come and attack. Yes. So really it depends. I think I said this last time. It depends what you plan to do on Friday. If you want to make it expansive, happy days. We'll go toe for toe. We'll try and keep the ball. If you make it, so we went to West Brom at Christmas, 2 defeats in a row. Went to West Brom at Christmas, and they just held us and just went, go on then, go on, pass through us, go on, and on you go. And it was side to side and side to side. And they just scored a couple of good goals, and that was it. All she wrote.
Yeah, this is where it's difficult for Watford fans to try and gauge, because obviously we've only had one game under Clevs, and Clevs coming from youth football to senior football. It's hard. We haven't got that sort of previous job where we can be like, well, at this club he played like this, and here he played like this. You might be able to play one way in youth football, but as soon as you come up, it's a completely different sort of ball game, if you like, and it's difficult. One thing which I did notice against Birmingham, by the way, the worst game of football I've witnessed by far. Two absolutely terrible teams, and I was just talking a minute ago saying how Leeds are by far the best team that we've played. Birmingham, by the way, going down as the worst team I've seen in a long
We lost to them
time.
at the start of the season when we're trying to get our stuff together. Last minute penalty.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, it was two horrendous teams, but we got the win, which is glad. We could probably do with one more win, and we can breathe a bit easier because our running is absolutely honking. But yeah, I don't know how we're going to play. But one thing I did notice is under Ishmael, it was right. We're going forward. There's not a way through. Let's go back to the goalkeeper and pass slowly between the centre backs and try and build up. It was all right to start with, but it got boring and the fans were booing. I remember who was it we played? We played Leicester, I think, and a couple of our other guys that are on the podcast were the season ticket holders and go regularly. And they said after sort of 20 minutes, the fans were booing and it was toxic because they don't want to see this slow sort of build-up football, and we don't have the players to do it. I mean, Wesley Hoot's fantastic, and other than the suspension in which he's currently serving, the Leeds game is his last game for that serving suspension as well, which will be good news for Leeds fans. We don't have the players to do it. So one thing I did see against Birmingham, we sort of cut that crap out, and we were looking to get direct as quick as we could. And I think the good thing as well is we have got players that can hit on the break, but I was a bit hesitant to mention this because I don't know if I've got it right. But is it only 2 goals you've conceded this calendar year from open play?
Three, and but none from open play.
None from open play. So the fact that we might have these players that are quite explosive on the counter and that, it sounds like really we'd have to catch you on an off day to be able to even hit you on the counter.
That's been the story since the turn of the year. Not conceding many of clearly, and just scoring in bundles or where we can. And they've also got a lot of the front foot. Because it's quite a young squad, so it's a really young squad. We've got a young side when it starts. They miss quite a few chances, but they don't seem to let it get to them. They just carry on and keep going. I mean, we're quite slow, so similar style of football. And the different, what we're clearly trying to do is bring you out. So if we're trying to, I think they call it setting traps and nonsense, but we're trying to go back side to side and bring you in, and then the pass completion percentages from the 2 midfielders, if they both play, Gruev and Kamara, are both upper 90s, like 93, 95. So we don't lose the ball very often, whether it's centre halves or midfield, we don't lose the ball. And then with what we've got out wide and through the middle, obviously Rutter's touch and go for Friday. I don't think he plays, if I'm honest. He may come on as a sub, but he doesn't play. So we're going to massively miss him Friday. But it's a case of building a base and then trying to bring you out and then pop it off into the midfield and go from there and then burst through. But it can be quite slow. The difference, I suppose, now to answer your earlier question is between now and the start of the season is they've played this style of football all season now, and you can see they're a lot more comfortable with it. They know what works. Don't panic. Just keep playing your football. It will come. Plymouth was a bit like that. And also the thing for us is if we score first, at the minute this season we don't lose. So if we score first, that clearly has to bring you out, which is massive for us, and we can just keep the ball, let you chase shadows a little bit. I noticed that your goal against Birmingham came from Emmanuel Dennis pressing down. So if there's a bit of that going on, hopefully that creates a bit of space. It's going to be a very interesting match. I'll be honest with you. I'm really nervous about it. Really nervous.
That's quite mad to think. I mean, Shane in the comments here says Leeds will win the game. I think that sort of speaks for a lot of Watford fans, their sort of thoughts going into it. And I know we're obviously at home, but away from home, that win against Birmingham, that was the first time all season that we've led at half-time away from home.
Just incredible stats you can pull up in it.
Yeah. I believe we've only led twice at half-time at home, against QPR, where we were 4-0 up on the first game of the season, and then against Rotherham. So we really, I mean, I'd like to be a little bit optimistic now that we got Cleves. He gets the club. He understands. He'll want to sort of make Vicarage Road a bit of a fortress again, because our home record, I mean, in recent years, when football's not been great for Watford fans in the last few years, we got relegated after an FA Cup final, then went up in lockdown and was horrendous, and come back down, and then we've not been back up since. So, but all in all, in lockdown, I think we equalled Preston's defensive record, and the home record was phenomenal. And we've had some real good times at home. We beat Man United, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal. I think the only team we've not beaten is Man City. So we've had some real good moments at home, but this season it's been so toxic, and I do worry that if you boys are passing it about with ease and get an early goal, I do worry what sort of state the Vicarage Road sort of stadium will be in. I mean, to be honest, I can't imagine many will be there anyway, because there's there's all this noise around the owners at the moment, and I mean, I won't go into it because it's a.
I heard Troy Deeney talk about it on Talk Sport this morning. It was quite an interesting.
Do you know what? Funny you say that. Just before you joined, I got sent the clip and I was just listening to it. So I mean, there's a lot of noise about the owners at the moment. Look, they've done great things for us, but ultimately, the football's moved on and they've sort of stayed where they are. So it's not been good, and we don't want to go down the road that Reading are going down. Albeit it sounds like they've found a new owner now, which is good. But I do worry, and something else which worries me as well is I was talking about you sitting top of the chart for home wins. Meslier is top of the charts for clean sheets. He's got 18 clean sheets in 36 games.
Some of the numbers are incredible. Genuinely,
what's Barker done with your defence to make it so impressive?
Change the personnel. That's the first thing he's done, because like rats leaving a sinking ship, a lot of them left last year, or we binned them off. So we've been a bit light at fullback all season, but Sam Barham's coming on a free after lots of injury problems, and up until the turn of the year when he got a couple of injuries, has done really well at left back. Junior Firpo, who's his worst, he's horrific. At his best, he gets assists. He's a weird footballer, but really good going forward. Ex-Barca and Betis, I think, from memory. But he might not be there Friday because he's travelling back from international duty. So but he's quite shaky at the back. But Rodon has been a stalwart all season. It was very noticeable that he didn't play against Southampton after a suspension, and we got beat quite heavily and quite comfortably down there. He's a big plus. Just played 120 minutes for Wales last night, which is not ideal, but it is what it is. Pascal Struijk is now out for the season. He's had surgery this week, and he's been struggling with something. So since the turn of the year, it's been Ampadu has dropped from midfield into centre half. He's a ball playing centre half. He's a midfielder, I think, where he wants to be. But he's played a lot of centre half, and he's just fantastic. And they've got a brilliant understanding. Rodon's a bit of a machine. And then right back, we've had, although we signed a right back in Jan, and he has played some minutes, but he has contributed. Again, he got injured for Wales last night, which again isn't ideal. We've had young Archie Gray there most of the year, so he's just turned 18, who's not a right back, and sometimes he can get taken by decent wingers, but 9 times out of 10 he does it. I think his first game actually at right back was against you. Come to think of it. Because it was needs must in the situation. I'm pretty sure it was against you, and he's got so many minutes. He's a really good footballer, and it allows him to go into the middle if we're moving the shape around. It allows him to drift into the middle and pick the ball up from there. He'll get round the winger. He's a good player, but it's just been they've got a really good understanding. Like every good back four you'll ever watch, they've just got a really good way about them. They're relaxed, they're calm, they're all good on the ball, and Rodon's a leader. And Ampadu's a leader who's captain at the minute, so they're leaders. But I'll give you the reason why I'm nervous for Friday.
Yeah, please do.
I'm a Leeds fan, so I'm naturally pessimistic. We have not really got a full strength side coming to you on Friday. Okay. We are horrendous at Easter in general. For some reason, we're just not very good at Easter. And there's a couple of ghosts. If any Leeds fans are watching, there's a couple of ghosts of Easter past that I'll not mention here, just don't want to spook anybody. And then it's that weird feeling of when it is going so well and we look so good and we're in a really good position. It's just, You're a football fan. You're just waiting to get slapped across the chops.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll go into it with a lot of confidence, but I'm just naturally nervous, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you rattling off about your defence then does worry me, because scoring goals at home is, we went through a bit of a dry spell. I mean, Emmanuel Dennis seems to have maybe picked up a little bit of form where he left off, but he's clearly unfit. He's not fit enough, and he was clearly brought in to sort of get the fans excited, and Ismail didn't want him. We had the chance to re-sign him in the summer, but he said no. So why has he done it now? And, all of this. But, I mean, you mentioned there a couple of things. A couple of them played for Wales last night. I'm hoping the hangover of the bad result will sort of...
really want extra time there, mate, if I'm honest. I was flicking between Wales and England. I was flicking back and forth, mainly on injury watch, if I'm honest. And then, Connor Roberts pulled up with a knee injury, went off, which was it's a shame, because he when he comes on, he's really impactful. And then Roder both played all the games. And Dan James came on with, I think, about 20 minutes to go, something like that. And then obviously
missed a penalty. Yeah, so I'm hoping his head will still be sort of thinking about that when he comes to Vicarage Road on Friday. But we know what you mean. One of our best players at the moment, and not that you'll remember him from our game, but we played him at left back when he come on against Leeds. But it's Georgie Chakvetadze, and he played 103 minutes for Georgia the other night, and obviously they qualified for their first ever European Championship. So I'm hoping he doesn't come back too hungover, because he's been a real joy to watch the last few games. But yeah, it does worry me. And you mentioned Archie Gray there. I was listening to another Watford podcast earlier, and they had a Leeds fan on. I can't remember who it was now, but he was talking about, and I'll be interested to see if your views are the same, but he was talking about how Blues fans got laughed at for retiring Bellingham's shirt. And he says that he can see, if Archie Gray really knuckles down, he can see Archie Gray sort of heading in that same direction, and he could be a real legend at the club. Obviously, he's got links. His dad and his uncle played for Leeds, if I remember.
Yeah, he's the third or fourth grade. I think it's three. So his dad, Andy, his great uncle Eddie, and Frankie, who played in the European. I think he played in the European Cup final '75. So yeah, and he's got a brother as well, who's a striker in the youth divisions. He's also very good as well. Apparently, I'm led to believe. Very very talented boy. He was talking about the other day actually in an interview, saying he can't wait to pull the white shirt on with him. So it'll be interesting. But we've had a lot of good youth players come through, especially over the more recent times. But he is on course to be a hell of a player.
That's interesting to know. One of those youth players wasn't Sam Dolby, was he? We bought him off you, and we thought he was going to be we thought it was going to be the next Messiah. And to be fair, he's ripping it up for Wrexham now. Although I'm not sure he gets many minutes with some of the players they've got. But
you know what it's like though? They either come through local lads and that sort of stuff, or you pick them up from all over the place. I think from memory, Sam Dolby was one we picked up from somewhere. As was Pascal Stroik, who's out injured at the minute. We picked him up from the concert, and you pick him up, and some of it was the same. We picked him up for like £1 million from a Dutch side. So it always feels different when they come through, doesn't it? Like obviously Eddie Gray is obviously clearly a legend at Leeds, and obviously Frankie played for us and Andy, etc. But it just feels very different when they feel like they're one of your own. I mean, let's be honest, he's probably going to go to Man City at some point, so they don't get too attached. Not falling in love with lone players, isn't it? Like I keep seeing Road on link with Newcastle, and it's just no, he plays for us. We're signing him in the summer, regardless. Leave us alone.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, we got Ryan Andrews at the moment, who he represents England at under-20s. Although he didn't play in the last camp because I think we withdrew him because of an injury. So he's hit and miss, I think, for Friday. But he's been one that's, it's good to see. Since the Pozzos took over, Watford used to be that club that would bring academy players through, and it'd be really good to see. But since the Pozzos come in, that sort of died down. But the recent years, we've sort of seen players come through, so it's good to have. But just obviously looking ahead to Friday now, I think I know what your answer is going to be, and it's certainly one that sticks out in my mind because I was there and it was horrible. Do you have any memories of this fixture, specifically at Vicarage Road?
Yeah. So the day we sport the party, which we talked about last time,
fucking
which
horrible.
gave obviously the Troy Deeney moment. So all Watford fans watching, you're welcome. Ross McCormack gave you that moment. So that one rings a bell. We had nothing to play for, obviously, and we just came to try and stop winning automatics. And there's nothing a Leeds fan likes more than spoiling a party and being the villain of the piece. So that was fun. I've been to Vicarage Road probably 8 times, I think. Most of them have been fairly unmemorable, if I'm honest. Either you've been in a spell of looking really good. Obviously, we had a long spell in the Championship where we were very rubbish. 15 long. So there's not. It's one of those. Do you know what I mean? And I think we played. Did we play you in lockdown? I can't remember.
No, because we would have missed each other. I think you were in the Prem, and then we swapped. So I remember a game where you talk about you sort of mellowed in mid-table for a long period of time, and I remember a game I had a season ticket, and I think it was around 2013, 2014. We won 3-0, and you had Jack Butland in goal.
That's right in the middle of that shit show. Where we just couldn't get anything going for the takeover and Bielsa and everything else. The rest is history. But we had there's only that memory, really, if I'm honest.
It was a horrible day for us.
Not of Vicarage Road, but clearly the playoff final. That still reverberates around my brain. If I can't sleep, I'll have a think about that. Life can always be better, can't it? Horrendous day. But not. I've been a lot to Vicarage Road, but as I say, most of it's been. I don't remember many Premier League games between us. We didn't play in League One, did we? From memory, so most of it would be middling Championship, or you were the better side, and you'd come down from the Prem, better team than us, and just swept us to a side. It's one of them things.
Yeah,
changed a lot, hasn't it? Changed a lot as a ground. I remember last time I visited, it's changed a lot. So
was that the last time you visited? That one where you spoiled the party?
No.
Or did you come in the 2019? No, sorry, the 20.
Oh, it was yes, I was in the end. Yeah, of course. When
you played Brentford not long after and secured safety.
Yeah, because we left Vicarage Road thinking we've done enough now, or thereabouts. We're about where we need to be. And it wasn't nowhere near enough. So, I remember that because it was, I can't remember his name. So rubbish with names. It was the Spanish striker that scored. Leeds fans will be shouting at me now. I can't remember his name. He's gone now, plays the guitar. But he scored. We had a good day, actually. Yeah, because you were pretty much already relegated, weren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. At that point, we were absolutely gone. And that was one of the games, actually, where, because you boys were struggling as well, we thought, right, if we're somehow going to miraculously pull this off, we need to get a result here against Leeds.
Win today is the start of it. I remember that being that, and it was quite a good result for us, if I remember right.
It was 3-0, and Rafinha scored. Rodrigo scored.
Rodrigo Moreno. Thank you, God, you told me. It was at my brain. Yeah, no, it was a good game. Yeah, but I remember walking back to the car because we parked at the away end and at some side street. That's probably enough. Not enough, but we've got a nice cushion now, and that went all the way to Brentford, which was a day in itself.
Yeah,
but no. So over the years, I've seen that stand to the left of the away end be like nothing to what it is now. So I've seen you slowly build it up. But I'm intrigued to say what you said about the. So what do you think the attendance will be roughly? Is it going to be relatively low?
I mean, look, we usually on a good day we usually get about 19,000. So I reckon maybe sort of between 10 and 12,000.
Okay.
And see, for me, this is where a club, it's a bank holiday. A club needs to go, right, kids, they don't do kids for £1 now, I don't think, but kids are £5, adults are £10 or whatever. Pack the ground out. I mean, look, it's not a massive game. Like, we touch wood, we are safe. There will still be Watford fans out there that think we are in danger because of the run that we've got. But it's a nothing game for us in terms of we don't need to win to stay up. And it's against a team who you boys have undoubtedly probably will have sold out. I would imagine, like every other away team this season, other than Chesterfield, you will have fans that have bought tickets in the home ends because that seems to happen more and more frequently. So why not try and pack it out? But yeah, I think between 10 and 12,000, it might even struggle to reach 10,000 because it's moved to Sky as well.
Yeah, so the Sky doing their usual Sky Sports thing. Probably realised that Leeds fans haven't got a great relationship with Sky. So
Yeah.
the two Easter games, there's a 12:30, a 5:30, and an 8, and it follows the same pattern. I think Leicester at 12:30, Ipswich 5:30, we're 8 o'clock. Same on Easter Monday.
Yeah.
So they really are ramping up the television figures now best they can, trying to ramp up the excitement. But it's, to be fair to Sky, I mean, let's be honest, in terms of the Championship, where we're at the bottom, not so much you boys sort of in middle of the table, but the bottom there's a race on, top there's a race on. I talk to fans all the time who don't necessarily watch Championship, or their team, whether their sport hasn't been down here, but they're like, Championship's always like this. No, the Championship's never like this. Like this. This is the Championship on crack. This is ridiculous. Like for 4 teams to be on the points they're on, it's never happened before.
No.
But all the stats are getting blown up all over the shop, and then the same at the bottom. I've got a good few Chef Wednesday mates, and they were saying that they won 5 in a row and didn't move. Granted, they're close to that, but they didn't move.
Yeah,
it's just a ridiculous season, absolutely ridiculous season. And, I don't know if I gave some credit earlier, but all credit to Ipswich. If I'm a betting man, I still think Leicester get over the line top, if I'm honest.
I don't know. I think this sort of cloud hanging over them, with if they go up, they are, to put it simply, quite fucked. Whether that will sort of play in my mind a little bit, I don't know. So
he's a very interesting character, Maresca, because he said some, and I would say this because we won, but he said some very silly stuff before the Leeds game, just unnecessary stuff.
Yeah,
that's one thing the Leeds fans do love about Farke, is he never says anything silly. He was asked today in the presser, does that put Leeds as pole position now for favourites? And they go, no, Leicester got game in hand. They'll see it through. I mean, that's playing the crowd the other way.
Yeah,
but no sound bites. We're not giving them sound bites.
No.
And it was, as soon as we beat Leicester on that was it Friday night? On that Friday night, all them sound bites were just going around Twitter.
Yeah, well, at least you react to them. Look at us. We had an ex-assistant manager, now a head of recruitment or whatever, text about our current manager. And if I was in that dressing room, I'd have printed them fucking texts out.
Yeah.
All around the changing room. And
Is that where he got spotted on his phone and someone had taken a picture behind?
Yeah, Dean Austin. So I think he's head of recruitment at Coventry now, but Dean Austin was assistant manager at Watford under Quique Sanchez Flores' first time round, and with Jukanovic when we got promoted. And Troy recently did a 4-hour podcast with one of the other Watford podcasts, and he spoke very highly about Dean Austin. And then lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, he spotted texting Mark Robbins in the crowd about Ishmael and how slow we look. And I mean, it could only happen to Watford, and it just sums up our season at the moment. But we've very almost beaten, but that was the straw that broke the camel's back, and Ishmael was gone. So
extra points for knowing who he was assistant manager to, because the amount of managers you boys have had, that extra points for that. Right? Well done,
yeah, I know. Well,
you are again on the hunt.
Yeah, exactly. I worry who we get, actually, because I mean, two of the names, Scott Parker, get in the bin. No, thank you. And then another name.
Whether or not he needs money or not, we were linked with him in the summer, but he does get out of this division.
He does, but you have to give him the best squad available in that.
You do, that's correct. Division. Yeah, I agree with him on that. And he's very divisive.
He went to Club Bruges, did the square root of. So, but another man, Sean Maloney, the Wigan manager, I mean, where that's come from, I don't know. If his agent's trying to get him a bigger move, I don't know.
Warnock our work.
Warnock, I love him. I think this is brilliant. The fact that your podcast is called "Gone Off on a Tangent," and I have gone off on several tonight. So,
do your best, mate.
Just quickly on Neil Warnock, and I can't remember if I shared this story when we spoke last, but when I think it was the 05-06 season when we got promoted. Obviously, that year that we both got playoffs, we beat Sheffield United in away, but we lost to them at home. And I think Clark Carlisle got sent off for us, and I think we lost 3-2. And I was mascot, and I would have been only about 10 or I think I was 10 years old, and Neil Warnock was manager for Sheffield United. And my parents still to this day say that for all the stick that Warnock gets, he made sure every mascot, even if it was Watford, he made sure all the players stopped what they were doing and signed anything we wanted to and had photos and like was really, really good with all the mascots. So he gets a lot of stick, but
It's very
he
old school.
really is. He's a top bloke. He really is. So
The only problem is now, like when he managed us, he was doing it from Cornwall. So we got the end of Neil Warnock, and Aberdeen had a very similar experience very recently. And no, it was pretty horrific when he managed us. It's pretty low down there. I mean, it's not Hockaday levels, but it's not much above.
Yeah. No, I remember we beat you 6-1 when Warnock was in charge for you boys. So
we were being at Middlesbrough singing Warnock, make a sub. That's how bad it was.
Brilliant. That is brilliant. This might be hard to pin down one player, but is there one player that you would say Watford need to look out for from you boys? And any one in particular that's shit out at the moment? I'd imagine it's Somerville because he's scoring fun, ain't he?
It would have been Rutter or Rutter, but he's had I said earlier, he's had a minor surgery, he's had a hernia op, so he's in training. I think hopefully either a surprise, he's in the team Friday, happy days, or it'll be saving for Monday. Somerville, I don't think has scored in 6. I don't think, which is a surprising stat, isn't it? Because I'm sure it's that. I could be wrong. I'll be corrected by a Leeds fan, but I'm sure it's. But Nonto's been banging him in really important times. James is banging form. Pirot is likely to drop into the 10, I think, on Friday if Rutter doesn't make it, and then Bamford's there for the tap-ins. But I think that again, it's hard to say because G.O.A.T has come back with a knock. Kamara should be there or thereabouts. So whether or not he moves Archie into midfield, if Archie's in midfield, he's the one to watch. But I will be putting £5 on Somerville scoring because he doesn't go he doesn't go long.
No, 7 games, by the way. His last goal was against Swansea.
Yeah. But Nonto's been banging him in, and other people have been banging him in. But he's definitely due on. To answer your question in a rambly way, he is probably the one to watch. With Rutter being out, he is definitely the one to watch. He's a very, very good player. Typical winger. So the one thing he does, I think you talked about this last time with one of your players whose name escapes me, where he cuts inside, but it'll get blue.
Martins, yeah.
He looks to come in off the left on his right and curl one in. He's scored so many goals like that. He's got a really good finish, really good temperament. Works hard now. That's been the difference. Farkas instilled that into him. Now he gets back. He puts a shift in. But yeah, probably Somerville. Why not?
Somerville. And again, this might be a difficult question considering how you boys are doing. But if anywhere on the pitch, where can Watford get joy from? Give us a glimmer of hope at least.
Left back, if Firpo's there, because he can be got at. 100% he can be got out. If you've got, like I said earlier about Archie, as an amazing season he's had, he has come unstuck a couple of times because he's not a right back. I'm not going to pin it on him. He's literally just not a right back. And he's having to do a job over there, get loads of minutes. It's actually really good for him, but he's not a right back. So either flank would be where my money is, and it depends what that midfield looks like. If it's Kamara and G.O.A.T, as I said about their pass completion, that they 1-2 it in there. G.O.A.T drops deep, pulls the ball off the back 4, but down the flanks. If Firpo plays, he can be got at massively. If Sam Barron plays there, less so, but he's a right-footed left back. So, but yeah, I would say down the flanks.
Yeah, that's that does give us a glimmer of hope, and
obviously set pieces because that's where we've conceded.
Yeah, you'll see on Friday. Welcome to Vicarage Road, a team that hosts a team that doesn't really score from set pieces. I mean, corners. We usually the last couple of ones we've had joy from is Wesley Hoot sort of running near post, flicking on, and anyone getting sort of scrambling it in. Free kicks. I mean, Loser was probably our best free kick taker in recent years. Pedro would take them as well, but I didn't really like that. It sort of had Harry Kane taking corner vibes. So yeah, we haven't really scored from. Trying to think the last time we scored from a free kick. I don't think we've scored from one this season. I might be wrong, but we don't tend to do well at set pieces, so you should be all right there. But in terms of the flanks, that's That's good to hear. That player that I mentioned in the reverse fixture, Martins, he's not really had a look in since. Obviously, we've got Yasser Asprilla as well. Really, really exciting. Scored for Colombia
Yeah, I saw that.
last night, I think, against Romania. But he's blowing hot and cold at the moment for Watford. Against Birmingham, he'd do something and you'd be like, wow, like how have we got this kid? And then he'd do something again and he'd be like, okay, that's why we've got him. So yeah, it depends what version of Yasser turns up. Dennis could do absolutely nothing all game and then come up with a goal. That is Dennis at the moment. He's unfit, but he's getting goals. I say he's getting goals. I think he's only got 3, but he's sort of scored them all sort of close together. I think you've mentioned injuries that you've got. I saw someone's ruled out for the season. I saw
that's Pascal Strout. Yeah, so he'd been struggling with a hip injury. It's one of those where they've tried to bring him back and work on it and use other techniques, but in the end, he's had to go for surgery. It's one of those that if they'd taken him for surgery 2 months ago, but they don't want to do it, do they? It's his last option. So he's gone now. So he's out for the season, which has meant Ampadu's gone centre half. And then it's the international boys. So Nonto's come back with a knock, a hamstring apparently. Ilya Gruev has come back with a ankle problem apparently. You get a little bit of smoke and mirror with Fark. So I won't take these as I'm always a little bit, soon they'll be in the team. Rutter's had a hernia up, like I said earlier, minor one, 10-day out. So whether or not he's fit and raring. But obviously, the minutes that the Welsh boys have played, the Firpo's been off. He's back Thursday morning. But then on the flip side, Somerville, no international football. Dan James barely played. He scored in one of the games but didn't play. Bamford obviously hasn't gone away. Didn't get the England call up, which is shocking in my opinion. He's not got that second cap. Melier didn't go away. Goalkeeper, but didn't go away. Barham's obviously way off international. So there should be more than enough for us to feel a brilliant team on Friday. Don't get me wrong. There should be more than enough. It just won't necessarily be. It might be one for us to get through and just get out 3 points.
I saw in the presser as well. I read some of his comments that Dallas is nearing a return, and I think he thinks Watford is maybe a step too soon, which is a good news because I know he's quite highly liked.
Dallas is miles off, mate. He's miles off. It was a hell of a awful injury that he's received. He'll come back, I think, but I don't think you'll see him put boots on this year. I don't think. Every time he seems to get back on the grass, it unfortunately for that he breaks down. But he's a club legend. That goal at Man City, which you may have seen in lockdown. The only thing missing from that picture was 3,000 Leeds fans going ballistic down the goal, but still it stands as a great goal. What I love about Stuart Dallas is he's a real club man, and under Bielsa he was awesome. But they do obviously, like most clubs, that they're all over the social media now. So when the lads come back in the tunnel, Stuart's always there, always clapping back in. And it's same, obviously Liam Cooper's in the squads these days, but Liam Cooper's the same, real club man, real experienced guys. But I can't think of any other injuries. Kamara seems to have come back with a full bill of health. Archie's come back fine, played for 2 games for the 21s. I think that's about it. But Rutter's potentially the one because everything goes through him.
Yeah,
it took us a while to work out where he was going to play and what sort of play we'd have. But his numbers now are ridiculous. Something like 16 assists. He's ridiculous. He doesn't score a lot of goals, but it's not what he's there to do. But I think he's underperforming his XG, I believe. Not that I believe in that nonsense, but he's underperforming it. But his numbers, he's I think 19's the most, I think, assists. And clearly he's got 8 games to get it done.
Yeah, he's on 6 goals and 16 assists. So that is.
But he's an ox. He's strong as it, so he'll turn you. He's got great feet, wins fouls, but he's just his through balls are just unbelievable. There was one against you, I think. We had it from deep and whipped over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to about that memory.
I know. Yeah, trying to forget that, along with the other however many games we played. And then lastly, obviously, you're going on Friday. Well, in terms of score prediction, what you feeling? What you thinking?
Score first, 2-0.
Okay.
Once he's getting a handball, I think, as I said, I think we've got to be in business on Friday. It is 8 games, business end now. Win the next 8 or 9, whatever it is, we're up. It's as simple as that. Never can take it off us. We're up. So that's just got to be the focus now. Just get in, and get the points. We've got a really tough run, like you said earlier about your run. They're all tough in the Championship, but it is quite a tough run.
Yeah. I mean, it's a start of a double header for us, which I'm starting to worry about. I mean, I'm not going on Friday because Sky moved it, but I'm going to the Baggies on Monday, and I don't think I've ever seen us win at the Baggies. And I know our record there isn't great, but nonetheless, I'll be enjoying myself in the Vine before the match. If anyone's been to the Baggies before, they'll know about the Vine. It's a great boozer in there and Indian restaurant. Paul says, on form, Leeds should batter us, but if we show the right attitude, commitment, desire, and have a lot of luck, I like that last bit, then anything is possible, and the Championship is a place where anyone can beat anyone. Absolutely.
Completely agree. That's
that is the hope that we're holding on for. I will take your hand off now. I will bite your arm off for the scrappiest 0-0 you've ever seen in your life.
You don't want to scrap it 1-0 from a corner?
Of course I would, but I can't see it happening, to be honest. It's just defensively, I think, worries me. I know. I mean, what's crazy is that we've talked about what on the last few podcasts before, obviously beating Birmingham. We were talking about our form and how dull and gloomy everything is. However, we're the only team in the bottom half that's got a positive goal difference because, yes, we lose a lot, but we rarely get a drubbing. I'm trying to think now. I think our heaviest defeat might even be, someone will probably remind me now, but our heaviest defeat, I think, was the 3-0 against Leeds. I'm sure there might have been another one, but it's quite close games, 1-0s, 2-1s, 3-2, whatever. So
we're certainly capable of doing that, mate. Of putting a few past you. If everything clicks, we have got there in the locker, but we've also had very frustrating games. Bristol springs to mind that on a Friday night, and it was actually a really good performance, but we just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So we got out with a 1-0. It was a really good result. Don't get me wrong. It got us to second actually, but we're just inconsistent because they're so young. It just took Nonto picking the ball up and smashing it in. So we have nights like that. We have nights where it doesn't quite click. I mean, granted, that hasn't really happened since the turn of the year, and we're a very different side now. There's just a lot of question marks after the international break, after the gap. But I think the one thing this season has taught me, especially purely from obviously a Leeds angle, is just to trust Farke a little bit, and just let him get on with it, and let's see where we are. And people are going to drop points between now and the end of the season, and the Championship is mad. And I've looked at other people's fixtures; you just can't predict anything. It is what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. I think bearing in mind, obviously, like you say, returning from the international break, you had, by the sounds of it, a few go. I think we had maybe 3 go, maybe 4 at a push. And I know you've only conceded in the calendar year from set pieces, but maybe if I'm being as optimistic as I can, maybe we'll stick one Patrick from open play and be that team to be annoying. But I think I'm going to go with
eventually, mate. Right, almost rather it happened and 1-2-1. It's just the stats you get off your back, if I'm honest, because it's just stats like that. I mean, some of the stats. I listened to a Leeds podcast on the drive at work earlier, and some of the stats they're genuinely we're on for a record-breaking season that may end up with us not getting promoted.
That is
in all
great.
The stats columns, because the league this year, the standard has been so high from that top 4. That there's something I remember at the start of the season that the owners had kind of banked on. Nobody has a fast start in the Championship. No one wins the first 5. No one is relentless. And what happened? Leicester won the first 5, and Ipswich I think was very similar. So we thought we were afforded that slow sort of month and get to grips, get signings in, let the play develop, and then no, it's just been like that all season. It's just been absolutely. In any other season, I think we're near as up.
Yeah.
In any other season.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I think 3-1 to Leeds, to be honest. And I mean, of course, I want to get something out of the 2 games. I mean, the West Brom game, I've been to 9 games this season. We've won 8 and drawn 1 of them. So I'm hoping that luck continues on Monday, but I'm not counting. I'm not looking forward to it.
I don't have great memories of the Baggies either, if I'm honest with you. I think I've seen us draw there. I can't recall us winning there. It's one of those. It's weird they got grounds, isn't it? like that. That you just because we're like we've got the to win the season we've got QPR, and I've never seen us win at QPR.
That is mad.
We need to go get something. I've never literally under the Bielsa. There was the famous photo of him absolutely slumped in the tunnel.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen us win there. It's just crazy how you have these grounds. It's because for us, because people might be looking at our fixtures and going, "What's he on about?" You've only got Southampton to play in terms of in that thingy, but Leeds have a lot of sides that, like Hull, for instance, rivals, Middlesbrough, rivals. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of play when it comes to Leeds. There's a lot of people want to beat us and all that sort of stuff. Not because we're who we are or anything. It's just everyone likes to beat dirty Leeds, don't they? Apparently, so
yeah. Well, fingers crossed Watford can add to that, and I like I say, I think you'll struggle to find a Watford fan that's optimistic for this one, and I think we're playing you at the wrong time, and we sort of kick-started your season, I think, a little bit. I don't know whether that's...
You definitely did. I'll be honest with you, you definitely did. And from that was, especially at home, that's one of our best performances. Yeah. And it all clicked. And I think from memory, Rutter had an unbelievable game, and that was his coming out party of the season. It was like, oh, okay, get it now. Yeah. He's in it. Get it now. That's what we're signed, paid a lot of money for. I get it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to.
Huh? Are you there? You're on the travel to Bristol, aren't you? So ignore me.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
You got permission to watch me.
I last went in that season where you beat us 3-0 at home. We lost 1-0 away, and you were crap at home all season. And we turn up and lose 1-0, and then Cisco gets a boot. So in true Watford fashion. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens this weekend. This Friday, sorry. It's been a while since we've been on TV as well, so it'll be interesting to see that as well, and what Tom Cleverley's got lined up. Like I say, knows the club, gets it. He's had many a good nights at Vicarage Road, so hopefully he can emulate that as a manager as well, and continue the good vibes after the 1-0 win at Birmingham. In terms of a review podcast, myself and Ben, I think Ben is going on Friday. So he will be joining me on either Friday straight after the game or Saturday as well. We don't know yet. We'll pop a tweet out. But if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. The details for where you can find Adam's podcast is all in the description as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everything's there. Go and find it and have a listen. In fact, it's Wednesday, so if you're watching this, a new episode drops every Thursday. So it's very good timing. So a new episode will be out for you to enjoy tomorrow. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this, leave it a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. We are ever so slowly creeping towards that 500 mark. I want to get there before the end of the season. We are so close now. But yeah, till next time, come on, you Orns.